What's up guys, and welcome to a new tutorial. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you guys how to make $1 billion step by how to make this senator plaque. Imagine I said 1 billion and your eyes is open. My friend, let us work. I will show you how to make this senator plaquette step by step. So all you have to do for me is just to smash that like button and make sure you subscribe if you're yet to subscribe. Welcome back to the Sewing Workshop, a place where billion-dollar brands come to get inspired. And if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, what are you doing? What are you doing? The very first thing you're going to need is your interfacing. You can see I'm using a collar stay right here, and my plaquette length is 15 inches, right? 15 inches, but I'm going to cut the interfacing a little bit longer because I'm going to still trim it out, right? So I'm cutting 16.5 inches right here. You can see. So now this is the main technique of the design we want to do. So fold it this way and smash the like button. It's important that you click on that like button first. Then watch me closely. I'm going to fold it again. Make sure what you're folding is aligned very, very well. See what I'm doing here? Just fold it like that. You can see. And I'm going to fold it again. You can see what I'm doing. So now the gap between your ladder, the gap between the zigzag, depending on what you want. If you want the zigzag to be a distance of 2 inches, you can simply follow the procedure from this area. But I want the gap between the zag to be 1 inch, right? So I'm going to fold this interfacing, right? I'm going to fold it to 1 inch exactly. Because of the gapping which I want, you can see what I'm doing right here. This is the main technical part of the design we're going to do right now. So this is going to be at a total of 1 inch, right? So I fold this at a total of 1 inch. So the slanting that I want here is going to be 1 inch depth. So see what I did here? 1 inch depth, and I'm going to simply make a slant from that corner right here. You can see that all the way to where I mark. So that is my zigzag depth itself. So after I get that, the next thing I'm going to do now is to measure the depth that I want on the other side. You're going to understand this. It's not that difficult. So now I want it to be 1 inch or so. So here, from here, I'm going to mark 1 inch, just at that place. The pen is not writing, okay? Yeah, 1 inch. I'm going to measure 1 inch. So from the other point, which I slanted before, you can see, from this other point, I'm going to measure 1 inch also. You can see that. Just in case you don't want it to be that slanty, just follow your own process. It doesn't have to be exactly the same thing I'm doing, but you're going to get an awesome result. So just connect that together. You can see that. So after you get that, the next thing you want to do is, because we are using 2, right? So I'll be doing 2. So I'm going to mark another 1 inch here. So they are going to be of the same size. So I always advise you to cut it together. So on the second slant, which is the down part, you can see I'm going to measure 1 inch also. You can see that, and I'm going to connect it together. So the total wideness is 1 inch, and the depth also is 1 inch. So after I get that, the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut it from that line. You can see, just from there, I'm going to simply cut it out. You can see that. And I'm going to cut the second one also. You can use this design to do any design, but I just want to use it for a placket. There are so many other designs that I will still be showing you guys. So this is what we're going to be having at the end of the day. You see this? How amazing is that? All of them are going to come out as accurate and the same because we cut it the same way. You can see what we have. And the second one also is going to come out the same way. So this is how we want to align our angle. You can see what I'm doing. This is how we want to align our angle. So now we have 2 of this, right? We have 2 of this. You can see what I'm trying to do. This is what the result we're going to get is going to look like. So far, if you're enjoying the video, you should smash the like button. And if you're yet to subscribe to the channel, you should. There are so many amazing videos that are coming on this channel so what I'll be doing now is to cut the fabric that I'll be using before we iron it on the fabric. So here is the fabric, and here is the main fabric itself. You can see that. Make sure you're working with the wrong and the right side of the fabric. So this is the wrong side. That's where the interfacing is going to be. And this is the wrong side, and that's where the interfacing is going to be. So I want you guys to pay attention here. So I call this at a total of 5 inches. I'm still going to trim it out. The maximum should be, and I call this at also a length of 16.5. I will still trim those out. I just cut an excess. So now what I'll be doing now is the glued part of the interfacing is what will be facing the fabric. You can see that, and I'm just going to iron it. Just align it straight and make sure it's not wappy or doing anything, and simply gum it to the fabric itself. You can see that. You can see that. Just make sure it is very, very glued. That's very important. So when you're done with that one, you're going to do the same thing on the second fabric. See that? You're going to do the same thing on the second fabric also. Make sure it's glued very well. Just follow the same process on the second fabric. Align it to the center and iron it down. Then we can continue with the, so this is what we're going to be having. You can see that. So the next thing that I want you guys to pay attention to now is here. At those curve, at those zag area, I'm going to make a notch. I'm just going to cut it all the way to that edge. Not really, like it's not going to like touch the edge itself, just a little bit before the edge. You can see that. So when we fold it inside, we're not going to be seeing thread coming out. So I'm going to do it on all of the sides and also on the yellow shadow also. And this is what we're going to be having. You can see this. You can see that. You see that. So after that, the next thing I want you guys to pay attention to is here. I usually cut this fabric a little bit excess because of if it's not aligned. So now I'm going to trim it out. So I'll be trimming it out and leaving like half of an inch. It's not even, it doesn't need to be up to half of an inch. I'm just going to trim it at those tip points. I'm going to just leave a little bit of allowance in that front. You can see that, just a little bit of allowance in that front, so that when I fold it, I'm not going to have an excess showing out. I believe you guys can see what I'm showing you here. I'm not going to have an excess showing out. So I'm just going to cut this place also. Trim it out. You can see. And I'm going to trim the other side also out. You can see, just take your time, make sure don't cut it up to the tip area, just cut out some parts and leave some little bit so that you can have something to fold inside. So after cutting that out, the next thing we're going to do now is to start our fold. And whatsoever we do on this place right here, we're going to also do it on the other one, which is the brown one. So right here, you can see, just fold it backward, just like this. You can see that. Fold it backward and simply hold it down. You can see what that is going to look like. See what that look like, you see? And also at this back side, fold it backward, just like this. And simply iron it in between. So you're going to iron the two together, so that your iron is going to hold the two sides together. You're going to cool it down. You can see that. You can see what that will look like. So also at this side, fold it backward just like this. And fold this one also backward just like this. You can see. And simply iron it down. Simply cool it. Oh, I did not hold that part. Just hold it down. Simply cool it. So you can see what we are having. You can see what the edges are looking like. So you're going to do this all the way around, and you're going to do it at the other side also. Take your time and make sure there's no excess. If there's an excess showing out from the front, just simply cut it out. And at the end of the day, I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to use, because of the fabric I'm using, right, there are some threads that will be obvious. So I'm just going to use like a spark to just like burn out all of the thread. So you see what I'm having. So you're just going to do it all the way around, and this is what our result is going to look like. You're going to do the other side also, exactly the same thing you're doing here. So you're going to do on the other side, and this is what the result is going to look like. You can see that we are having some thread looking out and pumping out from that side. You can see that all those thread. All you just have to do is just to use your spark. Basically, because of the fabric I'm using, that's why I'm having those thread. If you're using like a plain fabric, you're not going to have a lot of issue like that. You can see those thread that are pumping out. You can see that kind of thread just splash. You can see it will simply disappear. So you can have a sharp edge from each of your side. You can have a sharp edge. You can see that. You can see that. So you're going to do the same thing on the second one also. And this is what that one also will look like. You can see how sharp our result is looking. You can see that. So the next thing we're going to do now is simple. The yellow is going to be the one that's going to be at the down part, right? So all we have to do is just to align this. You can see, align this. So your angles have to be right. And make sure there's no space showing up in between any of the zigzag. You can see that. Make sure there's no space showing at all. Make sure there's no space showing. You can see. So first and foremost, before we do that, the thing we're going to do now is to stitch the yellow side. Like we're the yellow fabric. Is it gold or yellow? Anyway, just stitch both sides all the way around. First, we're going to stitch the yellow fabric first. And after we stitch that, we're going to align it together and we're going to stitch the center part of this one in order to hold it down. Then we're going to take it to the sewing machine and simply stitch it from the side all the way like this. And we're going to stitch it to our main fabric. I'm going to show you guys all this together step by step before we achieve our collar itself. So on my fabric, I want you guys to pay attention. On my fabric, I already joined the shoulder. On my bodice, I already joined the shoulder, joined everything. So the opening is going to be 7 inches. And I'm just going to open that side up just like this. First, sorry about this. Before you just cut that place straight, make sure you had an interfacing to that back. Make sure you had an interfacing. That is very, very important actually. I've forgotten. But I'm going to add an interfacing now and I'm going to slit it open again. You're just going to need a light interfacing. It doesn't have to be something very hard. Just a very, very light interfacing. And this is what that is going to look like. You can see. So I'm going to simply cut that open. You can see, I'm just going to simply cut that part open all the way to where I chopped. And I'm going to make a notch at both sides, just a very tiny notch. You can see that. And here also a tiny notch. You can see that. So after taking the notch, the next thing I'm going to do now is to simply fold my inner placket from the down part, just here, just a very, very tiny thing you're going to fold inside. Something very, just to give you an opening on the chest. I'm going to open it and simply iron it. You can see that. Simply iron it all the way to the top. And cool it down in order to hold firmly. Just cool it down. You can see that. So the other side as well. You can see that. You're going to simply fold that, open that one too, and simply iron it to the top. Just folding something very tiny at that side. You see that? You see that? And also that notching which we make, fold it backward and iron it down also. You can see what that looks like. So now when I turn it to the front, this is what your front panel is going to look like. You can see what we have. I'm just going to iron it and have a smooth edge. So you can see this. So all you have to do now is to run a stitch on this. Run a stitch all the way around in order to hold that panel down. Run a stitch around. Then we can simply apply our placket on it. So after stitching my placket round, you can see what the edges of the yellow look like. You see this? It's not going to be obvious because the color is very rhyme, right? So after that is done, the next thing we're going to do now is to simply align this together. Align this very well. Make sure there's no space in any of those parts, and I'm going to run a straight stitch all the way down before we apply it to our placket. The stitch is just to hold it down, so I'll be using a big gathers, like I'll be using a large gathers. I'll be using like a large stitch, so that it's going to like hold it very, very okay. So we're going to still losing that stitch, right? This is just to hold it down, so you see what we're having. See that? So I'm just going to trim out this part. See that? So this is the part that's going to be at the neck. So this down part, this is the part that's going to be at the down part, right? So I'm going to trim this place so I can have something to fold inside. This is the part in which we're going to stitch. So that down part, I have to fold it in so that when I'm sewing, I'll be able to like sew something down. So here on our bodice, this is what we're going to look like. We're going to apply that at the center part. If you're enjoying this video so far and you're yet to smash the like button, make sure you smash the like button. And if you're yet to subscribe, you should subscribe. I believe you're enjoying the video because I'm trying my best to explain it very well. So this stitching which we make at the center part on the placket will be the one to guide you all through the center gaiters of the fabric itself. Then we're going to stitch it all the way. We are going to follow the green fabric, the green zigzag, all the way to the down part. So this down part, I'm going to cut it out and simply, let me call this place, and simply make a fold inside, because that's where this is going to close in. That's where this is going to close in, and we're going to use it to lock that ending, right? You can see. So I'm just going to like fold this backward and iron it so we can have a good ending. I believe you guys are understanding what I am showing you guys so far. If you're enjoying it, make sure you comment below that you understand what I'm showing you. And if you have any question, just drop it in the comment section. I'll be there to respond immediately I launch this video. I'll be right there in the comment section with you guys. So let's go to the sewing machine right now and do the stitching step by step. I told you guys I'm going to show you everything. So let's go to the sewing machine and do this. We're going to sew it all the way step by step. So right here at that opening of the neck, right? At that opening of the neck. So from the left side, I'm going to simply, from the right side, sorry, I'm going to simply run my stitch. And this stitch, you know, is not going to be a straight stitch. It's going to be like a zigzag stitch. So that's how you're going to follow it. So from right here, make sure that stitch has to be at the center part. That our stitch that is holding the fabric, that's what you're going to follow up at the center part. You can see that. So from here, I'm going to simply put this right here. You can see that. You can see that. I'm just going to start my stitch. Lock the stitch first. I'm going to run it down. Just make sure you're following the stitches at that corners. Make sure you're following the stitches. You can see that. Make sure this is aligned at the center part of your gaiters. Because if you don't follow this process, that's what I'm trying to show you guys, so that you're not going to like end up stitching it and the placket is not going to be straight. This placket is going to be a wasp or something. So just pay attention. You can see that. You can see. Align this place also. And all of this fabric that are tilting out, all you have to do is just to push it in when you're doing the side. Just in case you have any fabric that is tilting out, just push it in. You can see This is exactly how you're going to do it all the way to the down part. I'm going to jump it so that I'm not going to waste guys' time, so that I'm not going to waste your time. So I'm just going to jump it to the end part, then I'm going to jump it to the last stitch also. The place we're going to lock our opening of the neck. That's very important. So let me go there first and show you guys what the ending part is going to look like. So at this ending part, all you have to do is just to follow up with the same thing you're doing from the beginning. You can see that you're going to stitch, you're stitching on the green fabric. You don't have to jump on the yellow. Just stitch it this way. You can see that. You just have to follow exactly that zigzag line. You can see. You can see. You can see that. You can see that. You can see that. Then here also. So I'm going to stitch this place so that I'm going to have an opening of at least 7 inches at the opening of the neck. So I have to do a lock stitch at that place. So let me show you guys. Do exactly the same thing you're going to do all the way to this place where that opening ends. And I'm going to lock it at this place. I believe you're seeing my hand. I'm going to lock it at this exact place. I'm going to lock the stitch at that place. Then after locking that place, there will be an opening. Then I can continue my stitch at that place. So let me show you guys what that side is going to look like. This can be a little bit confusing. That's why I'm taking you guys to that place. So here you can see this is where my stitch is going to end. So I'm going to lock the stitch. You can see that. So after I lock the stitch, you can see. After locking that stitch right here, I'm going to open this up just like this. You can see my hand. And I'm going to simply continue the same stitch. Just the reason for this last stitch is to hold down the yellow and the green together, right? Is to hold those two fabric together. If you're running a normal placket, you might not need to like run the full stitch at that place. You can just end your stitch. But here it is very important. You see me? You can see that. Just run your stitch all the way. We are almost done. And if you're yet to smash the like button, bro, see, is it sis or bro? Who are you? Are you a girl or you're a guy? I don't know. But why haven't you smashed the like button? All right, so just do it all the way here. And this is our last stitch. So this is exactly what our placket is going to look like. It actually came out really, really nice. Came out really beautiful. You can see that. This is what we're going to be having. You can see that, how smooth that is. You can see that. So all you have to do now is simple. Just losing that center thread. That yellow thread that is obvious. Just losing it all the way. Then give this a good ironing from the inside and also a good ironing from the front. Then you're going to pipe your neck. After piping your neck, you're done and you're good to go. Tack your button and your senator outfit is banging. You see, this is the final result we're going to be having. I believe you guys enjoyed the video. I did not put a shadow lacing on this outfit actually. It's just take your time, give it a thorough ironing, give it a good ironing, and this is what your outfit is going to look like. I'm here to use the steam iron to iron this. My final finishing is mostly steam ironing. I use my normal iron because I'm working with generator most of the time. Yeah, so this is the final result. Take your time to give it an ironing, and I will, if you enjoyed the video, you might want to like see more of my video. I have several videos on the channel. Just check it around and smash the like button. So that's about it. If you want to join my private class, there will be a link to the website and the link in the description below, and there will be a link to our Telegram group where we do private classes. So that's about it, and I will see you on my next video. Peace, and do have a lovely day. Bye bye.